things together, you won't really know what's working, whether it's the homeopathy, whether it's the Ayurveda. There are certain therapies which I do feel go very well alongside with homeopathy. And there are things like, say, reflexology and also Reiki. So these type of things are fine because you're not actually taking anything orally. These are sort of treatments that are done externally. So they're fine to use alongside homeopathy. Now, the second question I had was from a lady called Vidya Gumari, and she said, is it okay to take homeopathic medicine on an empty stomach? Now, obviously, there's a lot of allopathic and conventional medicines out there which are contraindicated on an empty stomach. With homeopathy, it's absolutely fine. You don't have to, take it after food. You can take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. The only thing that's indicated or suggested with homeopathy is that you leave a gap between eating or drinking and taking the medicine. And a lot of people ask me why, why do you have to leave that gap? Now, with homeopathy, a lot of the absorption, or nearly all of the absorption, should I say, is done via the tongue. So you take the medication on the tongue, and then the absorption into the blood system happens through the layers, the cells in the tongue. And that's the fastest way to get the medication through to the blood-brain barrier so that it works really quickly. Now, because you are doing that immediately, the absorption is immediately through the tongue into the blood system, there are no side effects. There are no side effects, and there's no metabolism in the kidney. There's no metabolism in the liver, and hence, there are no side effects. So you don't need to take homeopathic medicine on an empty stomach. You do need to leave a gap. So if you've got dosing and you've got to take a dose in the evening, then we normally suggest that you leave about 15-20 minutes on either side. If you can leave longer, that's great, so about half an hour even, so that the medicine has time to absorb through the tongue into the blood system. If you have something strong, then sometimes that reduces the absorption of the medication and gives you a slightly lower benefit than it would if you'd left that gap. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, anybody wants to join in live, then they can. The number's there on your screen. If there's any other questions that you have, you can drop them in the comments section at the bottom. Now, I'm hoping to run these sessions regularly. So if you would like to receive updates on when the shows are coming up next, then you can subscribe to the channel and press the notifications button. Please do not forget to press that bell button so that you will receive notification of when the next live show will be. You can also leave a comment if you want about various subjects. If there's anything else that you'd like to be covered, then I can cover that topic. I know in the coming weeks I am looking to cover menopause, because I've had a lot of women saying to me, please could you go through the menopause and how homeopathy can help. So that's something that I will be looking into. Women's health is something that I treat a lot of. There's a lot of various women's health issues and problems that homeopathy really helps with. And I think a lot of women are unaware that the problems that they have, they could actually have treated with homeopathy. For example, the main one, which a lot of women do not know, is that very heavy periods can be treated with homeopathy very effectively. And I've treated numerous women for this successfully. And it's better to try homeopathy, I believe, than having something so evasive as a hysterectomy or something. So this gives you a chance. There's a lot of reasons for heavy periods, which I'll go into more detail, but just generally fibroids is one of the main ones. So you get to a certain age, you're more likely in your late 30s, 40s to develop a fibroid, and the fibroid would cause a lot of your heavy bleeding and often you know, there's various things that they tell you to take, and then if that doesn't work, then they recommend that you have a hysterectomy. But I would really, really urge everyone to try homeopathy before they go to that final stage of having to have a hysterectomy, because homeopathy can really help with this situation. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the another question that I have from somebody called Artisha. And she asked whether, you are not allowed to have onions, garlic, fish, coffee sometimes with homeopathic medicine. What is the reason behind that? You go to some homeopaths and they probably say to you, you know, you can't take these with homeopathy. Now, there is no actual law or reason really for you not to take onions or garlic or fish with homeopathy. The only thing that I think possibly is the reasoning behind people saying that is that the garlic and the onions and ginger, possibly they leave a strong taste in your mouth. So if you're not leaving a big enough gap and the taste lingers, we know garlic taste lingers for ages in your mouth. So that could reduce the absorption of the medication and could make it less effective. Now, coffee, on the other hand, can be an antidote to a lot of medications. So there are certain medicines we would say do not take coffee. But again, that's not all medications. But sometimes, you know, a homeopath might say to you, don't take coffee, because it's easier, because there's a few remedies out there where coffee is an antidote. An antidote means that it will reduce the effect of the medicine that you're taking, so it make the medicine less effective than if you took it without having these. So yeah, so I hope that answers your question. It's fine to have onions, it's fine to have garlic, it's fine to have fish, as long as there's a big gap. And also, like, garlics in food are fine, but I think you know, sometimes people who are having like garlic pickles and then, you know, you're actually chewing on the garlic, then these type of things can linger in your mouth. The taste can linger in your mouth for a long while. So probably not a good idea to have any onions or garlic raw, especially if you're taking homeopathy treatment. Coffee, on the other hand, yes, you know, if you reduce coffee or stop coffee actually, then that would be great. I always say too much caffeine is not great anyway. Too much coffee. We all, you know, in the winter months like to have a warm drink. So I'd say, you know, if you reduce the coffee, maybe one in the morning, one in the evening, or tea. You know, tea is probably, in my opinion, a slightly better alternative. And then if you want more warm drinks, then there's lovely, you know, herbal teas on the market. Chamomile tea is great, you know, very calming, very soothing. Peppermint tea is ideal. It can help with the digestive system and help, you know, if you're feeling a bit bloated. Then there's parsley leaf tea, which is great for women just before their periods, which can help with the period pains and things. So there's so many lovely teas out there. Dandelion tea is great for those with a fatty liver, to help with the detox. And there's fennel tea as well. Again, fennel tea can help with IBS symptoms. So there's lots and lots of lovely herbal teas out there which you can use as an alternative. And the cold weather has come on, January, February, and you think, oh gosh, you know, I don't want to be having juices, you know, I don't want to be having my smoothie, and I'll just have another cup of tea. Maybe, you know, stock up on some nice herbal teas, and you can have those as a good alternative to a tea or a coffee throughout the day. Okay, so my next question, again, sorry, before I go on to the next question, if anybody wants to call in live, then please feel free to give me a call on the number below, 0758 723 7002. and I will be able to answer any questions you have live on the show. Also, you know, we've been promoting the show beforehand, so we've had lots of questions come through. I'm just trying to go through these questions. So if you don't feel like calling in or joining in, then feel free to just give a drop in the comment section or WhatsApp me on that number, so I will be able to answer those calls. Sorry, in coming shows I will be able to answer your questions. Okay, so the next question I have is from somebody called Sanvi Jane, and she's saying that is it okay for me to use the doctor's medicine, so the allopathic medicine, alongside with homeopathy? Now, the question to that is yes, you can. Just 1 second, I've just been given another question. I'm going to put my glasses on and see what the question is. Okay, so I've got somebody who's suffering, is age 22 and suffering from back pain. Yep, okay, so I'll answer that question, I think, before I go on to Sanvi's question. Yep, so 22, you're suffering from back pain. Now, first of all, it's important to look at why you are having this back pain. You know, did you hurt your back? Was there an injury? Or is it sort of chronic back pain? Because with homeopathy, there's different medications. If it's chronic, that means long term. Have you been suffering with it for a long period of time? Or is it acute? Is it something that brought it on sudden? Did you hurt yourself? Did you pull your back? Did you have an accident? These type of things really make a difference. On a general level, arnica can really help. So, you know, you can get some arnica which will help with any bruising or you know, if there's any injury. However, for complete treatment and complete relief from that, then please give me a call after the live show, and I'll be able to run through some remedies that can help. It depends what type of pain it is. Is it lower back? Is it upper back? Is there any sciatic pain, any nerve pain? Is there any compression in the discs? So there's a lot of questions we can ask, but definitely, you know, we can help. And I normally suggest some exercises as well, which can help alongside. And 22 is very young to be suffering from back pain. You know, it can be. And these days, because of COVID and lockdown, I've been seeing a lot of back pain because there's a lot of people sitting, you know, not being as mobile as they were previously. A lot of work from home. So it's important to get out and walk and exercise a little bit. And I know in terms of the weather, it's not ideal. Nobody wants to go out at the moment with the frost and the cold, but we need to push ourselves in order for our health. Okay. I'm going to go back now to the question from Sanvi. And she said, can I use the medicine my doctor gave me alongside a homeopathic medication? This is a really important question because I get this question a lot. In this country, to be honest, homeopathy probably wouldn't be a first call of treatment. Normally people have an issue, they'll go to the GP, they'll try a lot of things with their GP before they finally come to somebody like me. They've exhausted all the avenues. So often they are on a few other medications or they've taken some, and there's also a lot of people who after a certain age will probably be on something for hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, you know, these type of chronic conditions, even arthritis, they might be on some long-term painkillers. And they come to me and they'll say, right, you know, we want to have homeopathy. We start a treatment regime and they'll say, right, should we stop all of the medications that the doctor's given me? I would suggest that you never do that. Yeah, never ever completely stop medication. We work through medication and we begin to reduce it as the months go on. Especially things like asthma. I treat a lot of children for asthma, and I get parents out saying, well, you know, should I just stop the inhalers? And if anybody ever recommends you do that, then, you know, it's not an ideal thing. I'd question it. I'd question anybody saying, oh, start on this treatment and stop your other treatment immediately. You'll probably feel better for a little while. You'll feel okay because the medicine's still in your system, but then suddenly you'll get a drop. It's just the nature of the way the allopathic medicines work. So we'd work through homeopathy, start you on homeopathic medication, and then gradually we'd reduce as the medication begins to work, because homeopathy is aimed at healing from within. So, you know, getting rid of the problem, the reason for the problem, and making your body stronger. It takes a little time. So I'd say, you know, carry on with the medication, and gradually with supervision, we can start to reduce the other medications. So take it alongside. And again, as I mentioned earlier with the Ayurvedic, is to leave a gap, you know, leave about an hour's gap between the medication, and then that should be fine. Again, because a lot of allopathic medications are metabolized in the liver or the kidneys. You know, that's why we say sort of leave a gap, let that metabolism happen, let the medicine work through the system before then you put the homeopathic into the system and let it do what it needs to do. Okay, so I hope that's answered your question. The next question I have is from Raj Dillon. Now, I do get a lot of people who, especially from the Indian subcontinent or from South Asia, where homeopathy is really popular. So they've tried something with somebody else, another homeopath, or they've been given something from the other homeopath and they're taking it, but they'd like to add something else in because they've got some other symptoms, or they feel that they haven't achieved what they wanted to achieve, and then they come and they'll say, well, you know, shall I carry on taking the medication that the other person gave to me? Now, I always, that's a definite no. Yeah, 100% I will say no. You know, you need to stop that medication, and then you can take my medication, because if you're taking both of these, again, like I always say, you won't know what's working. But that's not the main reason. The main reason is, in homeopathy, there are some medicines that antidote other medicines. So they cut off the efficacy or the way that medicine works. So you might be taking something and then think, oh, I've got a bit of a cold, so I've got this medicine, this Allium Cepa sitting at home. I'm just going to take this now because I've got a stock of homeopathic medicines. But you might suddenly be antidoting the medicine that I've given you, you know. So you paid the money for the consultation, for the medicine, and then you've just simply just taken something you've got at home, and you've wiped away all of the results of what we've achieved up until now. So once you've treated what you want to treat with myself, and we've stopped the medication, then you're free to do whatever you want to do. So I always say to people, if you've got a stock of homeopathic medicines at home, before you take them, just give me a call, send me a text message, and I try and reply as soon as I can and let you know if it's okay to take that medicine with what you're taking already. Okay, I hope that's answered your question. Again, I'd like to say, if anybody wants to call or message, then please drop a message, or you can call me live on 0758 723 7002, or you can WhatsApp me, and I'll try and answer your questions as much as I can. I'm hoping to do these shows quite regularly, and make it more interactive, so that if there's questions people have, I can answer them all here, because often you get so many questions that you don't get time to answer them all individually. So I thought it would be a good platform, because then people can just refer back and say, okay, so this question's been answered. This is something that I was thinking about, but I didn't want to ask, and hopefully that'll clear this all up. Now, one more question from Geeta Verma, and she's asking, obviously at this moment in time there's a great uncertainty with COVID, and she's asking, what medicines should I keep at home in case of COVID, in case any family member gets COVID. Now, I think we all went through a real period about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half I think ago, when COVID first started around March 2020, can't remember now, and we all went into lockdown, 19 should I say, and constant panic happened and people were, you know, stocking up on homeopathic remedies, and now we've sort of become a bit complacent and thinking, right, being vaccinated, everybody's been vaccinated, so there's no need. But people are still getting COVID. And again, if you have COVID, then you're given the same advice to stay at home and not go out. You know, you're not supposed to go to your GP. Then what do? You know, what do you have? So I always say it's a good idea to have, you know, 3 or 4 remedies at home. And I've been getting a lot of people recently with this new Omicron version of COVID calling up, because it seems that, you know, there's a lot more people out there that have it. So a couple of remedies which are really, really good that you could stock up at and have at home. The main one which I'm finding with this new variant is Euparatium perforatum. Now that remedy is absolutely fantastic for body pain. So somebody's got body pain, they've got temperature, they've got weakness, and this seems to be a key symptom of this new variant. So people are really struggling with this, and I'm finding that if we're giving Euparatium perforatum a couple of doses even, you know, there's an amazing change in the person's symptoms, and they're feeling a lot more better within 24 hours. So that is a great remedy to have at home on the shelf, almost like a paracetamol. It should always be there just in case, because it doesn't look like COVID is just yet. It keeps coming back in different variants, so it's good to always keep that there. The other remedy that I would recommend, the second one, so there's 4 remedies I'm going to recommend. So the first one is Euparatium perforatum, that is the main one. The second one I would say is Bryonia, to have that again for the temperature, for the dry cough if that comes on. Although I'm finding with this new Omicron variant, the cough is less troublesome than it has been with previous, whether it's because a lot more people are vaccinated and the symptoms are not as bad, or, you know, whether it's just not part of this new variant. So I would say Bryonia is one that you would have there. So if a person feels really cold, really weak, they just want to lie in bed, and they've got this little bit of cough, then Bryonia would be an ideal one to have. The third one I would say is camphor. Again, that's a great remedy for the blood vessels, inflammation of the blood vessels. So obviously we're understanding a little bit more about COVID these days, and finding that, you know, it's not necessarily just a respiratory condition. It's probably that there's an inflammation in the vessels, in the blood vessels, and especially in the lung, because you've got the tiny little blood vessels, and they become inflamed and makes breathing difficulty. So 1 dose of camphor is great to have if somebody has COVID, if the cough begins. And finally, Belladonna. Belladonna is something which I feel every household should have for a sore throat, and a temperature as well, and sometimes a thumping headache. You know, it can really be relieved with Belladonna. So there's those 4 remedies which I recommend everybody should have in the house to help them, you know, if they do have symptoms of COVID. There's no need to worry or panic if somebody has been given a positive test for COVID. It's important to, you know, eat well, eat healthy, drink lots of warm drinks, keep the throat moist, gargle 2 or 3 times a day. And hopefully that would help to reduce the severity of the symptoms. Although I'm finding that the symptoms are not as severe as they were previously, which is great. So hopefully, you know, as time goes on, the variants probably get weaker. We don't know. Nobody understands at the moment what's going on. But important to still stay safe, and you know, when you go out, just be careful, wear a mask, and keep your immunity high, vitamin D, vitamin C, and just take the necessary precautions. So, okay, I think I don't have time to do any more questions for today. I've got a lot of questions here, but I will do that hopefully in the next live show that I have. I will, on the various platforms, put on when the next show will be, so please look out for that. There's no fixed time and date just yet, but if you look out for that, if you subscribe to the channel, then please click on the notification button, so that whenever there's a new show coming up, you will be given a notification of when that live show will be. And if you follow me on Facebook, obviously I'll post on there as well when the next live show will be. So I hope that you guys found this useful. It's something that people have been saying for a while for me to do, and it's just having the time to do it. And hopefully I'll be able to continue doing this on a regular basis. If there's any questions you have, please drop me a message on WhatsApp. And if there's any, you can drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll try and cover those questions over the coming shows. So thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you.